Before you scroll, stop for 30 seconds. What I'm about to tell you happened in a real American courtroom. A 19-year-old college student threw away the American flag that draped the coffin of a fallen United States Marine. She filmed herself doing it. She posted it on TikTok. She called it fascist symbolism. Now she is sitting in Judge Judy's courtroom, and the Marine's mother is sitting right across from her. What Judge Judy did next had grown men in that audience wiping tears from their eyes. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand why Patricia Carter is one of the bravest mothers in America, and why her son Michael's name deserves to be remembered. Patricia Carter is 68 years old. She lives in a small 2-story house in a quiet Ohio town. She worked 36 years as a registered nurse at the local hospital. She delivered babies. She held the hands of dying veterans. Patricia knows grief. She has carried other people's grief her entire life, but nothing prepared her for one Tuesday morning in October of 2010. That was the morning 2 United States Marines in dress blue uniforms knocked on her front door. She knew before they spoke. A mother always knows. Her son Michael, her only child, the boy she had raised alone after her husband died of a heart attack when Michael was 11, had been killed in action in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. He was 22 years old. He had been in country less than 5 months. He had called her 2 nights before, told her not to worry, told her he loved her, told her he would be home for Thanksgiving. He never came home. Michael Patrick Carter was the kind of young man this country used to produce by the thousands. He played football at his small high school. Not the star, just a kid who showed up to every practice and never missed a block. He worked at the local IGA every Saturday morning, bagging groceries for elderly women and carrying their bags out to their cars. He refused tips every time. He shoveled snow off the driveways of 3 elderly widows on his street every winter, without being asked, without being paid. He stood up when older people entered the room. He did not curse around women. He went to church on Sunday. On September 11th, 2001, sitting in Mrs. Bell's 7th grade classroom watching the towers fall, he told his mother that night he was going to join the Marines someday, and he did. He enlisted the week after he graduated. He served 2 tours and volunteered for a 3rd. On that 3rd tour, his Humvee hit an improvised explosive device on a dirt road outside a village he had been trying to help rebuild. He died saving the 3 Marines in the vehicle behind him. He was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star with Valor. He came home folded inside a flag. That flag was placed into Patricia's arms by a young Marine in dress blues who knelt on one knee in front of her. For 16 years, that flag has been the most precious thing in Patricia Carter's life. She had a custom mahogany and glass display case built for it. Every morning, she walks down the stairs in her robe, touches that glass, and whispers good morning to her boy. Every night, she walks past it before bed and whispers good night. And every single Memorial Day, she carries that case out to her front porch at sunrise and sits beside it all day. Not when she had pneumonia, not when there was a snowstorm, not when she could barely walk after her hip surgery. That flag came out on Memorial Day every single year. This past September, Patricia's property taxes went up by nearly $2,000. Her nursing pension only stretches so far. So for the first time in her life, Patricia decided to rent out her finished basement. A young woman named Haley, 19 years old, sociology student at a college 30 minutes away, answered the listing. Patricia liked her immediately. Haley said all the right things. She loved old houses. She needed somewhere quiet to study. Her own grandmother had just passed away, and she missed having an older woman around. Patricia, by the grace of God, a kind and trusting woman, opened her home and her heart. She did not even ask for a security deposit. For 6 months, things were fine. Haley kept to herself. She paid her rent on time. But Patricia started noticing things. There were stickers on Haley's car that said things Patricia did not understand. There were nights Haley had friends over, and loud, angry things about this country would drift up through the floorboards. Patricia let it go. She had been young once. She had said foolish things once. She believed people grew out of that. But there are some things, friends, that people do not grow out of. This past Memorial Day, Patricia woke up at 5 in the morning. She put on her good navy dress, the one with the small gold star pin near the collar. At 6:15, as the sun came up, she carried Michael's flag case out to the front porch, Around 9:30, her neighbor Walter, Korean War veteran, 83 years old, walked over with a cup of coffee, and they sat together for almost an hour talking about her boy. Walter went home around 11. Patricia went inside for 15 minutes to use the bathroom and make herself a sandwich. When she came back out, the display case was sitting on the table, empty. At first, she thought she had brought the flag inside without remembering. Old age does strange things sometimes. She walked back through the house, the kitchen, her bedroom, Michael's old room. The flag was not there. She walked back outside, looked all around the porch, and then she saw it. Sticking up out of her own kitchen garbage can on the side of the house. Crumpled, soiled, tossed in there like a fast food wrapper. The flag that had covered her son's coffin. Patricia picked that flag up out of the trash with her own 2 trembling hands. She brought it inside. She laid it flat on her kitchen table. And then she did something she had not done in 68 years. She got down on her knees in the middle of her kitchen and she screamed. She called her sister. Her sister came over within 20 minutes. The 2 of them sat at that kitchen table and just stared at that flag. While they were sitting there, Patricia's 21-year-old niece sent them a screenshot. A TikTok video. Already going viral. Haley had filmed herself taking that flag out of the case. She had filmed herself crumpling it. She had filmed herself dropping it in the trash can. The caption read, "Cleaned up some fascist symbolism in my landlord's yard today. You're welcome." The video had over 400,000 views by lunchtime. Patricia Carter is not the kind of woman who sues people. But that night, she went up to Michael's old bedroom, the one she has kept exactly the way it was the day he left for boot camp, with his football trophies on the shelf and his Marine recruitment poster on the wall. And she made a decision. She filed a small claims case. Property damage. Emotional distress. She was not doing it for the money. She was doing it because somebody, somewhere, needed to teach this young woman what that flag actually meant. A few weeks later, Patricia found herself sitting in Judge Judy's courtroom. Haley walked in like she was strolling into a coffee shop. She had her phone out. She was already filming, already smirking like she had won before the case had even started. Judy looked at her over those famous glasses, and the words came out like a hammer. "Young lady, put that phone down in my courtroom," Haley sighed, made a face, slowly put the phone in her purse, making a show of it. Patricia just sat there, hands folded in her lap, quiet, wearing the same navy dress. Then Judy reached down and picked up something in a clear plastic evidence bag. She held it up for the entire courtroom to see. The American flag, soiled, wrinkled, trash-stained. "Do you know what this is, young lady?" Haley shrugged. "This is the flag," Judy said, "that covered Patricia Carter's son's coffin when he came home from Afghanistan in 2010. The courtroom went silent. Patricia closed her eyes. And then Haley actually said it. "It's just fabric." The entire courtroom audibly gasped. A woman in the second row covered her mouth with both hands. The bailiff, a black man in his 50s, almost certainly a veteran himself, turned his face away. Judge Judy leaned forward in her chair, slowly, like she could not believe what she had just heard. "Just fabric. Just fabric?" "It's just a piece of cloth," Haley said. "Symbols don't have inherent value." You could see Judy's hands trembling on the bench. Now, before I tell you the verdict that made Haley's own lawyer pack up his briefcase and walk straight out of that courtroom, I need you to do one thing. If you have made it this far, if Patricia's story has touched you the way it touched me, hit that subscribe button right now. Hit the bell. Because on this channel, we do not scroll past Gold Star mothers. We do not scroll past fallen Marines. We do not scroll past mothers like Patricia who never get their sons back. Michael earned 3 more seconds of your time. Subscribe, then come right back. Because the verdict is about to land. Judge Judy stared at Haley for a long, long moment. The whole courtroom held its breath. And then she spoke. Slow, measured, cold as January. "Young lady, I have been on the bench for 32 years, but I have never, in all those years, seen a person sit in this room and tell a Gold Star mother that her son's burial flag is just fabric." She paused. "Here is what is going to happen. I am awarding Mrs. Carter the maximum damages this court allows. I am ordering you to pay her court costs. I am ordering you to write her a written apology. Not for the camera, not for social media, a real apology, delivered before this case is closed. And one more thing, she held up a printed copy of the TikTok video. I am forwarding this, personally, to the Dean of Students at your university. Let us see if your scholarship survives once the people paying your tuition find out exactly how you treat the mothers of fallen Marines. Haley's face went white. Her lawyer leaned forward. Your Honor, with respect, that is outside the scope of... Judy did not even turn her head. Counselor, sit down, or get out. He stood up, picked up his briefcase, and walked straight out of that courtroom without another word. Then Judge Judy did something she has never done in 32 years on the bench. She stood up. The entire courtroom rose with her. This flag, she said, looking at her bailiff, needs to be returned to its proper place. Mrs. Carter, would you like to do that now? Patricia stood up. She walked, slow, calm, dignified, across the courtroom floor. The bailiff handed her the flag, and right there, in front of Judge Judy, in front of Haley, in front of every camera in that room, Patricia Carter began to fold that flag. 13 folds. The exact same way Michael had been taught at boot camp. She did not rush, she did not cry. Every corner sharp, every edge crisp. When she was done, that flag was a perfect blue triangle, stars visible, nothing but blue and white showing on the outside, the way it was meant to be. She held it against her chest. She looked up at Judge Judy, and she said 5 quiet words. My boy would have been 38 today. Judge Judy, the woman who has stared down murderers and con artists for 3 decades, wiped her eyes. The bailiff was openly weeping. Haley sat there, alone, her lawyer gone, her phone in her purse, looking at the floor. Patricia walked out of that courtroom holding her son's flag. Walter was waiting on her front porch when she got home. He stood up, took off his cap. Patty, he said, I waited up for you. She put the flag back in the display case. She placed it on the small wooden table, and she sat down next to it for the rest of the night. This is what we mean when we talk about honor. This is what we mean when we say the word mother and the word veteran in the same breath. Michael Patrick Carter gave his life so that a young woman named Haley could grow up in a country where she had the freedom to post stupid videos on the internet. And Patricia Carter has carried that loss every day for 16 years. Without complaint, without bitterness, just with grace and a flag and a folding table on her front porch every Memorial Day. So if this story moved you, if Michael's name means something to you, hit subscribe right now. We tell the stories the mainstream media will not tell. The next time you see an American flag, take 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. For Michael. For every Michael who never came home. God bless Patricia. God bless our fallen. And God bless the United States of America.